Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of The Snake Pit. I'm your host, Son of Bat, and today I'll be talking about The Punisher Red Band. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but ladies and gentlemen, I think we are back. I think, again, I don't want to jinx it, but I think Marvel is starting to take its head out of its ass. It's giving the fans what they want, and when it comes to The Punisher, I don't think they've ever not given the fans what they want. It's always limited. It always seems to be, under the radar. Like, they've always kind of been ashamed of the whole Marvel Knights thing, like, and how uber violent those stories can be. Fucking Punisher Max, though, was probably one of the best runs. I remember that was the run I was the most into. I think the last one I got was Punisher Max Bullseye. But I kind of, faded out because, as you may or may not know, in the past 10 years, there's been nothing but superhero fatigue. I did like the Punisher show that came out. That was really, really good. But other than that, I didn't really watch anything. Marvel hasn't really been my favorite. I'm just kind of burned out on the whole superhero thing. But when me and my buddy went up to a comic shop last week, we were looking around. I found a cool issue of Return of the Living Dead, which I didn't know there was a sequel to that through comic. Dope. But we're walking by, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. For old time's sake, maybe I'll get a Punisher comic, because the last one I got might have been, Cosmic Ghost Rider, like years ago. And for as funny as that wasn't really like Punisher in my mind. It was kind of just a little goofy. So I'm looking around, and maybe I'll find some old Punisher comics I'm missing or some shit. And sure enough, I see this plastic bagged issue sitting there. I mean, there was a couple different variants, but this was the one I ended up picking up, as you see in the thumbnail. And the thing that drew me to it was the Red Band logo. Now, for those of you guys who are film nerds, Red Band, a Red Band trailer. It's R-rated. R-rated as fuck, you know what I mean? So this kind of gave me some hope, thinking that this was going to be a Max comic. And it kind of was to a degree. But it's so much more than just, the Garth Ennis Max stuff is great. But I'm really glad they went this direction with this comic I'm going to talk about, because it's mature as fuck. It's true Punisher right down to like every detail, but it stands on its own because it incorporates, other Marvel characters, whereas Max only really covered, like, from my recollection, it was like Bullseye and Nick Fury and shit like that. This comic has a fucking Spider-Man villain, ladies and gentlemen, but he's played really fucking sick, like brutally disgusting. Essentially, a quick rundown on a synopsis of what this is. Frank is back. Reread, reloaded, true believers, Frank Castle is back. With no memories and a full clip of thirst for wrathful vengeance, his violent search for answers could only be chronicled in a Red Band series. Bullets will fly, blood will flow, and the citizens and criminals of New York alike will fear the name The Punisher. From the superstar Helverine creator team Benjamin Percy and Julius Otha, hope I didn't say that wrong, don't miss a single pulse-pounding page of this explosive new series. Fuck yeah, this is issue 1. Kind of opens the door to what's going to be coming down later, but this takes place on Earth 616, and I'm not the biggest, comic nerd. I do like comics, but, my lore could be a little rusty. I'm pretty sure Earth 616 is where most of the mainstream Marvel shit takes place, hence why Tombstone shows up in this. It's really fucking cool, though. The comic starts with the Punisher waking up on this blown out drug freighter. No memory of who he is, but for some reason he knows how to patch himself up and get out of the situation he's in, load up the Uzi, know if the clip's empty and shit. And, yeah, this is a crazy way to start, because the boat is basically loaded with over 500 pounds of fentanyl. So he's taken down a drug bust, clearly, but why does he not remember who he is? Like, his skull apparently has a bullet hole in it. Like, that could be it. He's also shot in the arm and leg. So he gets out of there. But the cool thing I noticed was the Punisher's costume. I mean, the cover doesn't do it justice here. It's a very cool cover, don't get me wrong. But he's got the old school suit from, like, the old comics, which I thought was fucking amazing. It was a really sick, cool back, just the Uzi and the old school suit. So it was like nostalgic, but it was hyper violent at the same time, because the gore was unmatched. It was almost like I was reading an alternate universe Punisher's comic from the 80s. You know what I mean? Like, it was really fucking cool. Kingpin gets introduced, obviously, from Daredevil. Really cool. And I mean, Kingpin always works in, like, these Marvel Knights stories because he's a very human villain. And essentially you have Kingpin getting a Catholic priest to shoot himself for being a human trafficker, which, I mean, sick. Good on you, Wilson Fisk. And then we find out that Tombstone is also taking the role of Kingpin. This is Lonnie Lincoln, and holy shit, dude, Tombstone was fucked in this. He's like doing like Texas Chainsaw Hellraiser shit to people. There's a part where he opens up like a meat locker and there's 5 people on hooks and he just fucking slices them up with a meat cleaver. This shit is so fucking brutal, and it got me hyped for what this series is going to do, because again, it's completely different from Max. It's in the Marvel continuity. This isn't like real life like the other series, which I'm totally okay with, because, you know, I kind of had my reservations and my doubts on this, thinking like, you know, it was going to be modern Marvel bullshit and they were going to do something dumb, but like this was really fucking cool. Now, spoiler alert, but then again, I don't know how much of a spoiler this is, because this is only issue 1. And this is going to lead into the overarching series, obviously. But, you know, if you want to read this issue, if I've sold you on it, go pick it up. Read this. It is really fucking cool. The bag it comes in with, like, the warning is also fucking a nice touch. But, yeah, so spoiler alerts and all that shit. But basically, by the end of the issue, we find out that the reason why the Punisher doesn't know who he is because Kingpin Wilson Fisk has pretty much MK Ultra'd the Punisher. He's like put a microchip in his brain and is controlling him. That's why his head was like, because when he gets shot up, he pulls himself to this old lady's house, and the old lady helps him like by giving him like, you know, bandages, stitches, and vodka, so the Punisher can DIY fix himself in the bathtub. And he's most certain that he got shot in the head. That's why he can't remember anything. But the lady attests, like, once you passed out and you told me to finish up, like, you know, sewing you up, I went to go fix your head, but it was already sewn up. That's when we figure out that he's been bugged by the Kingpin. And, you know, I'm really hyped to see where this goes. Like, I wonder if Daredevil is going to come in. Hopefully Bullseye shows up, because he's one of my favorite Marvel villains. But so far, I mean, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe Tombstone might be the only villain in this iteration on this story run. But yeah, man, I'm hyped to see where this is going to go, because they're taking 616, like, normal Marvel villains, and they're giving them the really grimy R-rated treatment. I'm hyped for these. Looks really fucking cool so far. I usually don't do this with like part 1 of a series, hence why with 28 years later, I've yet to do a review on that. It's part 1 of a pre-announced trilogy, so I don't know if I can really say part 1 is great without seeing how the rest of the thing goes, because right now, just like with this Punisher comic and with 28 years, a lot of questions have been established. It's all about how they follow through. This can go in any direction. This can either be completely amazing or it can be complete dog shit. I don't want to get ahead of myself and be like it's going to be amazing, because we don't know yet. Same thing with the 28 years movies, and that's why I haven't gotten a review out for it, because it's just established questions, and depending on how good the sequels or the continuations are, maybe I can actually give a more solid review. But I guess because this is a comic and it's based on the art and it's based off what I got so far, I'll do this one and give it a rating out of 10, especially for coming back to, like, you know, serialized Punisher single issues, which I haven't done in almost 5-6 years. This was like a 10. I said that with the last few reviews, but honestly, this was a 10. It was a sick way to come back into the comic reviews, because I haven't done one in about a year. So like, this was really hype, and this has got me amped to read the rest of them. If any of you guys are interested, this one came out on September 10th. Issue 2 will be coming out October 15th, and it says issue 3 November 19th. Both of these have cover announcements. Issue 2 looks pretty wild. Issue 3, it's an okay looking cover. And issue 4 apparently is going to be coming out December 31st, 2025. Really hyped for this series. Again, really hyped to see where it's going to go. There's also a couple variant covers. I think Frank Miller did one of them, but I avoided getting that one. I don't know who did the cover on this one. It's in the bag, and I really don't want to take it out and put it back in. But yeah, I definitely didn't get the Frank Miller one, because I've seen some of his, like, I think it was the Wolverine cover he did, and I love Frank Miller's work in Sin City, but the guy needs to stick to black and whites, because his new shit looks washed as fuck. But yeah, no, definitely don't have the. Oh, actually, wait, no, I have the Marco Cicchetto and Matthew Wilson cover. Fucking awesome cover. Some specs about this: it's written by Benjamin Percy. Julius Otha is the penciler and inker. Colorist Yen Nitro. Letterers VCs Corey Petit, and editors Devin Lewis. You guys keep cranking them out, because this is pretty good. I'm also hyped for if there's going to be a continuation on the Punisher show. Again, I'm not really a Marvel DC kind of guy, but this is a superhero comic I've always been super fucking into. I'm glad, again, knocking on wood here. Hopefully Marvel's starting to take its head out of its ass and it's starting to go back to writing good stories instead of, stories for the lowest common denominator. Because the shit that they've been putting out, like in the past 10 years, like specifically all the movies and, even to a degree, a lot of the comics, they've just been horrible, man. Like, it's just like woke kitty bullshit. And I hate to use that terminology because, you sound like an asshole using those words, but it is. It just feels like it was written for the lowest common denominator, bland, inoffensive, no punch to it at all. And when you're doing a story like The Punisher or, even like Blade or like, Daredevil and Elektra, or Ghost Rider too, you have to make it nasty. You got to give it edge. You got to make it serious because whether you like it or not, these are supposed to be written for a more mature audience, and to dumb it down for like a few people who don't even read these things or even buy these, it's just insulting. So I'm glad to see them starting to come back, and they're really, I guess, putting forward an effort because the art in this was amazing, the story was intriguing, and it's got me hooked. I mean, I'm going to be buying issue 2 when it comes out October 15th. So yeah, hopefully more good things to come, and hopefully we're back here. We're back. The Punisher is back. Great fucking issue. Definitely gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Can't wait for issue 2. If you guys like this episode, you want to see more comic book, comment. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.